Esau's kingdom is a mess. First and foremost, I'm going to give all praise, glory, and honor that's due to Yahweh, Ba'ashim, Yahweh Shai, Ba'Hashem, Ba'Chaha, Ba'dash, double honor, city elders and apostles of Great Millstone who rule well. Peace and blessings to the 144,000 for elect. Shalom Barakatum. And this is just going to be a quick in transit, just reflecting on all of the things that we've been seeing in the news. As you can see, prophecy and news, it's like drinking from a fire hose at this point, with all of the different things that are coming out to light, and just how sloppy this guy is getting, okay? Because the scriptures speak about this guy at the latter end, okay, that he would be in straits, okay? And when Esau gets constrained and put in straits, he starts to make mistakes. He starts to get sloppy, all right? There's more news about them Jakes being found hung, okay? And in these rural areas like Mississippi and whatnot, but they ruling them all suicides, okay? I think it was a third Jake today was found, or it was just made the news today at least. And they just don't care, man, okay? People are too tuned out, man. The covering cast over this place in America, it's just been too effective. Although it's thinning and it has holes in it, okay? The grip that it has had on people is staggering, man, and that's why you see why the Lord had it written in the book of Isaiah, like in Isaiah 29, I believe, it says, I will pour out a spirit of deep sleep, okay? And that's what you have on these people, man. And when they wake up, they're going to be in agonizing pain, man. This is going to be like waking up during a surgery, okay? Waking up during open heart surgery with no anesthetic. That's how it's going to be for these people out here. Even though they can see it right in front of their eyes, they can't see it, And some people do see it, but they don't have it in them to fight, man, And so people don't know whether or not they want to come together, whether they want to be angry in race wars. We got to do something about the elites, but at the same time, they looking at you because of how you look in your skin, your race. So people are divided and they're consolidating at the same damn time, man. And this is the confusion the Lord said he would hit this place with in the latter times, okay? The whole thing is a mess, okay? You got the Department of Homeland Security putting out memes, all right? The ICE is out there just rolling up on people with no rhyme or reason, no strategy. They just see somebody speaking Spanish and they're like, oh, wait, where you from? And they grabbing your ass up, and before you know it, your rights are gone, man. Okay? Really, the rights are already gone. They just haven't enforced them yet. All right? And so now you have the military. Brings you to that topic. The military is all upside down, topsy-turvy, because over the past 15 years or so, they've been adding a lot of soy to the MREs, if you know what I mean. Okay? And they've been spending money like a drunken sailor, okay, trying to convince the people that America is ready, but they're not ready, okay? They ran out of missiles when they got into that encounter with Iran, man, okay? That was the reason Trump got mad at Netanyahu, because he knew they didn't have enough missiles to respond, and he kept instigating the attack, okay? So that's what caused them to broker that peace deal with Iran back then. So they're not as ready as they say they are. Even though they've been spending $1 trillion every year, they're still not ready. It takes them months and months and months to refill their stockpiles of bombs, of like Tomahawk missiles and Hellfire missiles. All right. Why does it take that long with all of this technology? Because that money that you see them spending in defense, they're just taking that money, man. Okay. It's not a coincidence that the Pentagon had a $20 trillion accounting error, okay? They don't know where that money went or what's going on with it, okay? All of this dark money. So now, when you have to get ready to actually fight, you don't really have it, man. And don't go to the draft, because the moment you put that draft up, which they will do. And they force that conscription, all right? there's going to be all hell breaking loose, man. Okay? You think it's a mess now. Wait until they start grabbing people up to go fight. Okay? Especially these young Gen Zers, because you've completely robbed Gen Z, man. They don't even want to work, man. They out here applying literally for 1,000 jobs and not getting even a call back. Okay? Or going through hundreds of interviews, hundreds of job applications and getting 1 or 2 interviews. Okay? And they're having to stay with their parents. You know, they got no hoes. You know, most of them. You know what I'm saying? And they're struggling. Okay? Their food is destroyed. They got all kind of products in their food. They're frustrated. They're irritated. They're watching the boomers. You know, the boomer has multiple houses, man. He's got a lake house. He's got his main house. Okay? You know, he's got a boat. Enjoying his retirement. Meanwhile, you know, they can't even afford a down payment for a house. You know? And even if they could afford the down payment, they really couldn't afford the house itself, man, because the maintenance gets so high, and then they jack the property taxes up. And those are the men you want to go fight for you in the war? What do you think is going to happen? All right? And the Lord is piling all of these things up pursuant to Ezekiel 7. Okay, in Isaiah 47, all of these mischiefs are piling up and piling up and piling up. All right, and you can see it already. It's a complete mess. Okay, these job layoffs about to have these women outside looking crazy. Okay, you can already see it. They're starting to try to shame you for not wanting to do this and take them out. Well, why are you going out to number one if you don't have money? Why do you want a man to break his bank? You know, break his wallet, taking you out? They're addicted to things that ain't real, like social media, man. You know. So when these federal jobs ramp up with the government shutdown, all right, and the unemployment rate soars even more. Okay, people aren't hiring as much anymore. Okay. And then that's not going to get better, because guess what's coming after that? AI is going to take over. All right. Do you see how the whole thing is just, the Lord has just made a big gumbo, you know, of mischief, man. You know, on all sides, man. And people, the scriptures say, even when the missiles are on the way, they're going to know that they're getting ready to be bombed, and they're still not going to repent, man. That's Revelation, the 14th chapter. Okay. They're still gonna blaspheme the name of the Most High, man. That's how wretched and wicked these people are. The same spirit the Egyptians had on them. You would think after the plague of the flies, the plague of the frogs, okay, the blood and the water, the plague of darkness, that should have really messed you up. But they still doubled down, and they chased us out in the wilderness, and the Lord put that spirit on them. They hardened the spirit of the Egyptians. All right. So the same thing is going to happen to these Egyptians. And they said that in Isaiah 19, okay? That there would be a cruel Lord ruling over us, and it would be Egyptian against Egyptian. And the MAGA movement is confounded. They're divided, okay? They brazenly and just said, don't worry about Epstein, okay? They brazenly started a trade war with the people that basically owns their economy, which is China. China owns the American economy, man. There's no American economy without a Chinese economy, okay? And they started a trade war with them, and now all of the prices are up even further, okay? You in there paying $11 for mouthwash. When the food becomes physically out of reach of people, when these trucks stop moving as much and these shelves start getting bare, watch how crazy and how violent it gets out here, man. Watch how quickly it happens too. Okay, it's not gonna take long, and deep down, Trump and these people, they know that this is on the way. That's why they're gearing up the military, man. That's why they're telling those generals, hey, listen, if you're not about breaking the Constitution and putting military troops domestically, then go ahead and get out. Okay, that's what basically Trump and Pete Hegseth have basically told them, because a lot of the military generals, they know that they swore an oath to the Constitution, not to a president. Okay, and you're not supposed to use the military for domestic disturbances. Okay, That's what I believe you have the National Guard. It's supposed to be able to keep the peace, but you got local law enforcement and militias, man. Okay? But you're not to have the military, okay, on the domestic population. And so he basically told all of them generals, like, look, if you ain't with it, go ahead and get out now. Why is he telling them that? Because he knows what's coming. You see? And all of you Israelites that went back into the world, that just forsook this thing, that had this oh no big deal attitude, all right, you're gonna get swept up and caught up in it, man. Okay? You know, as the scriptures say, we have piped to you and you have not danced. Okay, we've sung, okay, and you have not danced, man. Okay? We're singing the song of righteousness, man. Okay? And you don't want to hear it, and that's okay. Because, hey, we can't save your ass anyway, man. All right? And good. Okay? Because the Lord is getting ready to make some serious moves, man. We can't say exactly when, but we're obviously on the precipice of it, man. There's no way we have much longer here, man. Okay? I mean, there's no way we're going to be here another, 10 years. I'd be shocked if we made it out of the Trump presidency, if not something major goes down next year. Okay? Because you can kind of get an idea how things are going and when things might happen, but at the same time, the Lord is in control of it, so something will happen, then things will speed up. And then the Lord will do something else and things will slow down and speed up. So you can never really, pinpoint it. And the Lord wants it that way because he wants the elect focused on faith. Okay, focus on completing our temptation, man. And that's what we're all locked in on. That's why we put up our sacrifice for the Day of Atonement, man. Okay? So, hey, America is a big mess, Anyway, I'll end it there. Lord willing, this is edifying. Call halal Yahweh Ba'ashim Yahweh Shai Ba'ashim Rachabadah Shalom. Kwam Yasharal.